In every system, there are extremes, points at either end of a spectrum that define the outer limits of thought. Within Freemasonry, these extremes exist as well. They have been named not as labels for men, but as descriptions of tendencies. On one end, the ancient, on the other, the dotard. But most men are neither. Most men stand somewhere in between. They are not defined by extremes, but they are influenced by them. They lean, they favor one direction over the other, and it is this leaning that determines the future of a lodge. Because while balance is natural, drift is inevitable. When a lodge leans too far toward comfort, it begins to forget its purpose, not all at once, but gradually. Standards become suggestions, expectations become optional, and what was once required becomes negotiable. This is the effect of dotardism when left unchecked. Not destruction, but erosion. It does not remove Freemasonry, it replaces it. Time, energy, and attention are redirected outward, toward activity, toward appearance, toward things that can be seen, and in doing so, something far more important is neglected: the man. Freemasonry was never meant to be built around the external. Its purpose has always been internal: refinement, discipline, transformation. But when the focus shifts outward, the work inward begins to fade, and when that happens, the standards that once defined the craft begin to dissolve. There was a time when admission was not assumed, when being considered a good man was not enough, because good is subjective. Every man is good in someone's eyes. Even the worst among us is respected by someone. So the question was never, is he a good man? The question was, is he prepared to become something more? Is he capable of conforming to a system that demands refinement? Is he willing to submit his preferences to a higher standard? Or will he enter and attempt to reshape it into something more comfortable? This is where the problem begins. A man enters not because he understands the craft, but because he knows someone who does not. And that man was admitted for the same reason, and the pattern continues. A chain of recommendation without understanding, admission without alignment, until one day, the lodge is filled with men who do not know why they are there, and those who do find themselves outnumbered. This is not hostility, this is mathematics, and the result is a gradual lowering of standards, not out of rebellion but out of convenience. Dress becomes casual, conduct becomes relaxed, expectations become unclear, and with each concession, the identity of the lodge shifts. The ancient does not insist on formality for the sake of appearance. He insists on it because it reflects intention. A man who prepares himself, who dresses with care, who presents himself with discipline, is making a statement that this moment matters, that this place matters, that this work matters. In a world that has become increasingly casual, formality is not outdated, it is deliberate. And when that formality is abandoned, something deeper is lost with it: reverence. The dotard will say, it is the internal, not the external, but this is only half understood. The teaching was never meant to excuse a lack of effort. It was meant to ensure that status alone did not grant admission. It was never a permission slip to lower the standard, because when the external is neglected entirely, it begins to reflect the internal, and the image presented to the world becomes inconsistent. A lodge divided in appearance appears divided in purpose, and perception matters, not for vanity, but for representation. Every Mason, whether he accepts it or not, represents the craft to the outside world, and when that representation lacks consistency, it weakens the whole. This is what balance matters, because the ancient left unchecked can become rigid, unapproachable, and detached, and the dotard left unchecked becomes something else entirely, a system with no edge, no demand, no transformation. Balance is not achieved by meeting in the middle, it is achieved by understanding the purpose and aligning toward it. Freemasonry was never meant to be comfortable, it was meant to shape men, and shaping requires resistance. So the question is not whether balance should exist, the question is, which direction should the balance lean? Because one direction preserves the craft, and the other slowly replaces it.